How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Carbon Mic Off. As we are here with a guest right now, we have Alan Nadeau the third. So, how's it going, Alan?
It's going, man. Pleasure to do this with you.
Awesome, man. So let's get into the simple questions. Where are you from?
Born and raised Hinsdale, New Hampshire. The easiest thing to know is that we have the oldest continuously operating post office in the country. Remember those, records books you buy at the book fair at your middle high school or whatever? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my town was in one of them. I have the copy that it's in. It's just somewhere at my dad's. So yeah.
Alrighty. So you and me been we've been talking about all kinds of other stuff for the past couple of years, and that's how we interacted with each other is because of Twitter. And
Yep.
besides racing, but we're also huge wrestling fans, which you know it's something I'm also interested in talking about later. But
Oh yeah.
first off, um, about NASCAR. So how did you get into it?
Honestly, I can't exactly pinpoint when I got into NASCAR. The thing I always tell people is that I was born exactly 5 days before Jimmy Johnson's first NASCAR Cup Series started at Charlotte. He didn't do all that well, but man's ended up a 7-time champion, I believe over
Mm-hmm.
80 wins. Like he did all right. Huge thank you, of course, to Jeff Gordon for even bringing him into Hendrick in the first place. If Gordon doesn't do that, who knows? The butterfly effect would be absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. It's if you think about it, like Jeff Gordon took a huge gamble and
Yeah.
talked with Hendrick about it, and it paid off for the Hendrick Motorsports organization. 7-time champion, uh, 80 over 80 wins, multiple, like 7 champions, 5 in a row. Winning 5 champions in a row is one of those achievements that more than likely cannot be touched at
It
all,
probably
especially in
won't ever
today's.
happen again, honestly,
Yeah,
especially with the
especially
playoffs.
in this point system. Like
Exactly.
this point
And
system, it's
sorry.
it's so difficult. It's all good.
Thank you.
It's like especially the point system. It's like
Exactly.
impossible now.
Hmm.
If I had to pick somebody that could probably win a championship in a row, kind of like in with this point system. I mean, Chase Elliott has been in the Final Four multiple times, and especially
Same with
the
Logano.
past 2 years. Yeah, same thing for Logano as well. It's been, I say, Chase and Logano could do it. It's possible that they can go back to back with championships. Maybe
Potentially, yeah.
Larson, yeah, maybe Larson with the next gen cars once they figure it out. Like
Mhm.
once they start getting all the kinks out of the next gen car. I mean, Larson could be a huge threat next year. It's
Yeah,
possible.
and then some of these younger guys that are coming up. I mean, I know Ty Gibbs has to get through all of his attitude and all this God stuff and all that. Like, look, I'm a Christian myself, but y'all should not be comparing yourselves to God. Just saying. But like, he just won the title. Also, rest in peace, Coy Gibbs. At least he got to see his
Hmm.
son win. And honestly, like, if he can keep being consistent and hopefully not ruffle a ton of feathers,
Hmm.
who knows? Who knows? Um, Same thing with Gregson. I know he's with RPM or Petty GMS, but he had his best season of his Xfinity career this past year, and I wanted him to
Hmm.
see the. I wanted him to win the title so bad. He matured so much from the Road America incident, and I know people are going to hold that to him, but like he matured. We watched that in
Hmm.
real time. The guys in the booth or whatever even said so themselves. So
Hmm.
who knows, really? I mean,
Yeah.
over the next couple years, there's going to be a change of the guard. Kurt Busch has done full time racing. Thanks a lot, next gen car. Um, you know, Hamlin, his contract, his and FedEx's contract, it came out expire after this next season with Gibbs, and he is already part owner of 23XI. So if he doesn't win the title next year, he could very well just say, I'm done racing full time. I can't win the title. What the hell's the point? You know, Truex Jr. is another one. Harvick's another one. Almirola was going to retire, and then he decided, yeah, I still got Smithfield backing. I'm good. Like, these older guys are going to start going away over the next couple years, like we've seen in years previous with Earnhardt, Jr., Johnson, Gordon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Tony. Yeah, Tony Stewart.
Exactly. Tony Stewart's another one, which, by the way, congratulations to him on getting into NHRA. I mean, he's made his comments known as far as how NASCAR's going. So, hey, he's been successful in other forms of motorsports. Let's see how he does in NHRA. If he can be successful there, who knows?
I mean, the man could do anything. I mean, the man's good at what he does. He just loves going fast and win races.
Exactly.
The thing is, like, and like Jimmy Johnson, for example, like, it's amazing seeing him come back.
It is, yeah.
Like, you know, with since 2018 till 2020, it was rough, pretty rough.
Yeah.
And but with him coming back, you know, from doing IndyCar for about two full seasons, pretty much. Well, he did
something
one
like that, like part of one season, because he didn't do the ovals the first time, and then I think last year was this past year was full time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was full time. This was his full time season for sure. But with him coming back to NASCAR, you know, happy for like guys like Bloody Jimmy, big Jimmy Johnson fan, and
exactly, yeah,
and some other friends.
Me too.
Yeah, like you for yourself. And with him coming back, which I was actually debating to go to the Daytona 500 next year to watch him race. But I was kind of thinking, like, the other races he's probably going to do, like the Crown Jewel races in general.
Probably, yeah. I mean, my guilty pleasure would be, I hope he does Loudon, because if he does, I'm going. I want to meet him.
Yeah.
I've said for years I've wanted to meet him in person. Please,
yeah,
Jimmy.
Like I really want to meet Jimmy Johnson as well for myself, and I think with him doing these races, I mean, imagine him doing the Bristol Dirt Race and wins that thing.
Oh God,
like
that would be fun to watch.
Like I'll be there. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see him win that race.
He does have a dirt background, kind of, with like racing trophy trucks or something. So he's got that in him, just not on ovals.
So. Yeah. I was kind of thinking he's gonna do like obviously I could see him doing the Chicago Street Course race. I mean, it's a first time thing to do. I mean, Coca-Cola 600. I could see him run Martinsville, both of the races.
Probably, yeah.
And Dover.
I'd love to see him run Dover again, because he made that track. You know what? You know, he made
that's
that.
His backyard.
Exactly,
his backyard.
It is. Exactly.
And obviously the Coke 600. I can see him running that because that's a big race for him. I mean, if he ends up winning that race or something, regardless, I'm still going to buy the race version of that diecast.
Yeah.
But I cannot wait to get some Jimmy Johnson 2023 merch.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna look great. But they never
Would you be mad if he got the 48 from Hendrick, which puts Bowman in a different number?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind it, because Bowman, you know, he was selected to be in the 88 first. By Dale Jr. And then he was selected by Jimmy Johnson and was put in the 48. I was like, I think it would be a better situation if Bowman can have his own number to have like a own identity.
Yeah, I've seen one concept of like a 55. I've heard people want them to bring back the 25. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
we'll
I
see.
I'd rather have the 55 because that's his dirt number.
Yeah, true. Plus, it's a throwback. Even though he was never affiliated with them, it's also kind of a throwback to Michael Waltrip Racing, Waltrip, Vicker. Well, no,
Hmm.
well, yeah, no, Waltrip with a 55, Vickers with a 55. Vickers being a former Hendrick guy way back when.
Yeah.
So,
And also Mark Martin. I mean,
yeah,
Bowman is a Mark
there's that
Martin
too.
fan.
Who ran the 5 at Hendrick? So it all comes
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So my next question is, how did you become a Jimmy Johnson fan? Like,
Again,
there has to be a starting
that was
point.
that's basically fate in of itself. Like again, I always say born 5 days before his first cup start, and just like I was born on a Tuesday, so the
Hmm.
crazy thing with my birthday is again 5 days before Jimmy's first cup start. It was after the weekend where Brady made his first NFL start with the Patriots,
Hmm. Yeah.
and born exactly 3 weeks after 9/11. Not to mention,
Yeah.
I also share my birthday with Sting, the singer, not the wrestler. I have to point that out.
Hmm.
One
I
of the
like Sting.
Sables who created NFL films.
Hmm.
Kelly Ripa is another one. Mahatma Gandhi is the most notable one. And
Hmm.
there's others. There's websites on here. You can search that stuff if you wanted. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it had to have been fate, honestly. And yeah,
Yeah. And like, I was a Dale Jr. fan, and I always respected Jimmy Johnson because of what he can do behind the wheel. I
yeah.
mean,
It's just the
everybody's seen
winning
what he
pissed
can do.
everybody off.
Yeah, but it's like the thing is about him is that even though he wins so many times, but you have to understand he's just good at what he does. It's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's like telling people how look how good Kyle Busch is.
Hmm.
Like Kyle Busch is one of the best drivers in NASCAR we've seen. I mean,
Exactly.
the dude, and even if he's running the Xfinity and trucks and Cup, but he still has to drive that car to win those races, and he earned
Exactly.
those.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and,
he doesn't have over 200 wins across all three top series for literally nothing. Like
yeah,
him and his brother Kurt worked their asses off all across their
hmm,
career, and they both had. Honestly, you could make ESPN 30 for 30s on the both of them. Kurt especially, but
hmm,
Kyle as well, because they've both had these wild career arcs. Kurt more wild than Kyle per se, because he's been to a bunch of teams. But like Kyle, it's you have his Hendrick days. You have all
hmm,
these years with Gibbs, and now this new chapter um with why am I blanking? I was at Childress. There we go.
hmm.
Um, so yeah,
And like I'm honestly excited to see what he could do in that number 8 car.
definitely. I
And
mean, look what Reddick did
with
this
Kyle
year.
Busch, yeah, and the thing is with Kyle Busch in that 8 car, he's going to have more help with Chevrolet,
Mhm.
especially for super speedways.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Imagine he wins the 500. That he needs to win the 500. Him and Martin Truex Jr. both need to win it. Like
yes,
MTJ came
they
so
really
close
do.
and had it stolen from his future teammate in Hamlin. Bush, when was the closest Kyle ever came to winning it? Honestly.
Second in 2019.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
He,
there's that. But like, yeah. It's like he
yeah, he
always gets
finished
involved in a
second in
wreck of some
20.
sort. It's crazy.
Yeah, always gets involved in a wreck or something happens to him. And
Mm.
I do know, I think it was 2009 is when he had a really good car that race, and then that's when Junior um, in the Brian Vickers situation happened, where Brian Vickers got spun by Junior pretty much.
Oh yeah. Like I'm
Um,
thinking to myself,
yeah,
wait a minute, are you talking about like Junior and Johnson and Dagan? I'm like, oh wait, no. Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah. Actually, no, that was
yeah,
the retaliation. That was Earnhardt retaliating on Vickers. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Crazy.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Busch was destroyed in that race. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, Kyle Busch, the thing is about these plate races, honestly, Daytona 500, Talladega, whatsoever,
Atlanta
it's
now.
Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta now. It's luck now, pretty much.
Mhm.
The only thing you can ever win these things, you got to know how to draft properly, know how to bump people, know how to block people, and just try not to get into any trouble at all. And
Exactly. Yeah. Like
trouble.
nobody's ever going to be like Dale Sr. and just see the air. But if you can come as close to
Mhm.
that as possible, you'll be all right. By the way, heater's turning on in the background, just so you know. So,
That's fine. That's
all
fine.
right, cool.
uh, so since the NASCAR race season is over, what was your favorite race of 2022?
Oh boy. Oh, for God. Favorite race. Holy crap. What was my favorite race, honestly? Because, like, I mean, if we're talking like Xfinity, basically anytime Craigson won, I
Hmm.
just absolutely. As far as Cup goes, damn, it's hard to pinpoint because the Cup season had so many wild moments. Like we had, like for all the safety issues that the next gen car has, we also got a crap load of parity. And with whatever safety changes are made, I still hope that we
Hmm.
keep the parity thing going because we had a bunch of new winners this year. Some of those guys getting multiple wins, which is incredible. I think
Hmm.
Austin Cindric winning the 500 this year was an omen for that, and just how the
Yeah.
season started. Um, hmm. Honestly, I'm not sure. I had there were some races I got to live react to. There's some that I did as many race reactions as I could. Of course, having to work around work.
Hmm.
But in general, it's more picking a favorite moment than it is picking a favorite race. If I had to pick a favorite
Yeah.
moment, to be
Hmm.
honest, I have to take Daniel Suarez winning Sonoma. Because Suarez winning Sonoma is so huge for him. Because remember,
Hmm.
he won the Xfinity title. Edwards has the sudden retirement after getting dumped by Logano, trying to block him at Homestead, and nobody saw it coming. And Suarez basically just got shafted up to Cup,
Hmm.
and he never really got supported by Gibbs. He was always the fourth guy, and that's which
Hmm.
became Eric Jones. And I wouldn't necessarily say Christopher Bell is the fourth guy because he's kind of held his own.
Yeah,
And then
he's winning
Suarez,
races for sure.
exactly, yeah. And then Suarez goes from there to Stuart Haas, just ends
Hmm.
up being more of the same. Then he has that year with Gaunt Brothers, which was ugh. And then he gets picked up by Trackhouse. He has a solid year in his first year with them last year. And then
Hmm.
this year, they bring in Ross Chastain after, which, by the way, Justin Marks, love the guy. The fact him and
Great dude.
Pitbull doing this, it's crazy. And then Suarez
Hmm.
gets the win at Sonoma. Like that's a
Hmm.
massive thing for him because if you were to tell a Suarez fan when he first got brought up to Cup, everything that would have happened to him after, they'd be like,
Hmm.
"You're crazy." But yeah, I think Suarez pulling that off, that would probably be like the moment of the year, aside from, of course, Chastain at Martinsville. Y'all know that
Yeah.
watching that live, like you had to watch it live to understand, like you had to be in the moment. And watching that live, I'm like, what the hell just happened? Did I just see that?
I was there,
It's crazy.
so it was something else.
Exactly. It
and
was.
and and being there and seeing that, like seeing what happened,
Mhm.
and then they showed the video of what Ross Chastain did. It blew up. Like the whole
Exactly,
place
it
blew
did.
up.
Like that went beyond mainstream. Like you even had a
Hmm.
video game chats like talking about it because it's a literal video game move. And Chastain said he
Hmm.
he practiced it on the GameCube way back in the day. Plus, you have all these other drivers' reactions, like in the moment, and after the fact, yeah, some guys are saying it should ban it. Da, da, da. Look, honestly, there's only a couple of tracks you can pull that move off at, and even then, you've got to get extremely lucky because that's the most mind-boggling thing is with how easily some of these parts break on this next-gen car. How the hell did he not just like get, or the fact that he didn't catch the gate in the corner? Like, he lined up everything perfectly to pull that off. And the funniest thing is, he screwed over Denny Hamlin to do it after all the shenanigans. Oh my God. That's a moment that will live in infamy. Like, honestly, Chastain doesn't even need to win the championship. Like, he can live on that moment for the rest of his life if he wanted to. That's crazy.
And the thing
got
is,
a hell of a career, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is about Ross Chastain, what he did that move, it pretty much made NASCAR mainstream at that moment.
Exactly.
Because you got people that never watch NASCAR saying like, "Holy moly, this is amazing! This is so cool! He had the balls to do this, and it's insane. It's so cool." And like, and in Martinsville in the fall, it's every track, every race in general have its own vibe, different vibe every time.
Exactly.
And Martinsville playoff race is so amazing to experience because of all the crazy shenanigans we have been seeing the past couple of years.
It deserves to be like either the opening race or the cutoff race to the round of 8. It should not leave that round because we've seen a lot from it. Logano Kenseth, which gave way to Gordon's last win, which is insane. The Chastain moment last year with Bowman and Hamlin. I mean, there's probably more. Like, it's insane. Like, I mean, what can you say?
I mean, I'm ready for see how that race is going to go next year. Like, I'm absolutely excited to see how that's going to go. I think somebody that's going to really fight hard for their championship spot is going to get dumped in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're going to get moved, or what you're going to get your feelings hurt. I mean,
yeah. When I was thinking of like my favorite race that of 2022 for especially the Cup Series, I'm probably going to pick the Coca-Cola 600. When me and Dalton discussed about it, we were like, that is exactly what the Coca-Cola 600 needs to be. A lot of passing, aggressive racing. It's one of the toughest race on the schedule, 600 miles.
The toughest. It's the longest one, honestly.
And yeah, it's the longest on the schedule for sure. And we had the big one. I was not expecting for Buescher to flip over at all.
Yeah, that was wild. That. Like, not just flip, but to just shear the car apart the way it did. I mean, you can't even compare it to like Newman at Daytona way back when he literally tore the car apart, you know, just flipping through the grass, or even before then for that matter. But Buescher's flip, that and Chastain at the All-Star race, those are the two biggest what the moments. Like, how? It's like Chastain is like, meow. Just like Kyle's like, what the? And then Buescher just flipped, like, just caught something, like, meow.
I think, all right, even though Chris Buescher's and Chastain's crash was like a what the fuck moment, but I think one of the most WTF moments is Jeb Burton's crash at Pocono.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. That was, what even was that? Like, how do you flip your car at freaking Pocono on the front stretch? Like, I know like the back stretch, especially when they had the trees. Casey Kane, hello. Also Elliott Sadler, hello. And you know, obviously, but like on the front stretch, how? And the fact that he didn't
And
hit the beginning of the wall, like he
mm-hmm,
didn't pierce it like Mark Martin did inside pit road years ago,
mm-hmm,
that's even
mm-hmm.
crazier. Or no, Martin's was Michigan, I think, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
Martin's was at Michigan.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's still same
I-
premise, same premise.
yeah, and Joe Burton is from my hometown,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome,
and
actually.
yeah, and seeing Joe Burton from your hometown flip over, and when I was recording, like I had a great view of recording the wreck and everything, and where he stopped. He
Yeah,
basically dead stopped where I was sitting, pretty much.
right. Yeah,
And it's crazy. This year alone, this is the most I ever seen cars flip. I seen Maya
yeah.
Snyder
That's
went
it.
into
It
catch
feels
fence.
like that, like across all three series. Speaking of which, Jessica Friesen at
Mm-hmm,
Knoxville, I think
yeah.
it was a dirt race. That wreck
Mm-hmm,
that the broadcast could not seem to find, and somebody else
mm-hmm,
did. That was wow.
yeah.
Like it's not as much of a what the fuck as Burton or Chastain or Busher, but it's still a what the fuck moment in of itself because wow.
The way how the truck dug in pretty much into the dirt and it flipped it
Exactly.
over pretty much.
Exactly.
And it's like, I mean, we seen these cars blew over, like have blowovers. We seen some of these
Mm-hmm.
cars just
Catch
get clipped
fence.
in the quarter panel. Yeah, catch fence clipped in the quarter panel, or just rolls on its side, pretty much of how much force it goes into a quarter panel. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you'll see cars that just push in one another, and the car just gets sideways and just gets airborne that way, pretty much.
I mean, Ryan
I
Newman
mean,
2020, man. How the hell did he
yeah,
not die from that? I still wonder to this day. Dale Earnhardt was
yeah,
watching. He was watching him that day. Absolutely. There's no
yeah,
question about it. You can't tell me otherwise. Earnhardt was like,
yeah,
there's no way Newman's going to die tonight. He's got 2 kids. He's got a wife. He ain't dying tonight. The fact that he walked out of the hospital barely even hurt, that's even crazier. So,
and he kept the car afterwards.
yeah, I know. Watching that SRX
And
segment, that like most people would just want to just get rid of it. No, he still has it. That's insane.
yeah, I mean, there's a couple drivers out there that have kept their cars that would have ended their career or killed them. There's people that do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, because with that race, especially that Daytona 500, which I was pulling for Newman and Blaine, especially Blaney, to get that one for
Yeah.
sure.
I
Uh,
mean, Blaney's good at that. He's good at sneaking wins out. I think there's some people that
yeah,
to this day still wonder was Blaney ahead of Hamlin at any point in time when the caution came out. Like, I think some people still
yeah,
argue that. It's like, no, dude, Hamlin won. Which Hamlin has 3 500s to his name. Like, that's crazy in of itself.
yeah, yeah, and it's one of those tasks where I mean, winning the Daytona 500 is definitely one of the major accomplishments in NASCAR for sure.
Yeah.
It's not an easy race to win.
Yep. Just ask Dale Earnhardt. Or just go watch all of his races. He had so many things happen to him, and then he finally got it done. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just I mean, there's guys like Ryan Blaney, for example. He's due for one for sure. Definitely
Yeah,
due for
him,
one.
MTJ, Kyle Busch,
Yeah, Brad
Bubba
Keselowski
Wallace.
is another
I
one.
mean, yeah, Kozlowski. Wallace, I want to see him win the 500 just to laugh at the haters because he came so close to doing it this year. I mean, if Blaney got
Yeah.
Cindric out of shape just a little bit more, Wallace might have beat him to the line. He was that close.
Hmm. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. I'm excited for the NASCAR season next year. I
Yeah,
mean, I pretty much got a couple of races planned out so far.
yeah.
Going to Bristol for the dirt weekend. Going to the Bristol Night Cup race, and I'm actually going back to Darlington in the spring and the Coke 600 weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. So my next question is, what made you a wrestling fan?
All right, so this I can pinpoint where it started. So, like a lot of other things, YouTube. I mean, I've told this before. Mike Rorzemba and his Pete Maravich video from years ago got me into NBA YouTube, and it's sort of a trickle effect where you find these other YouTubers and you start watching their content, and you get into it more. And being a sports nerd, of course, I'm going to, because I try to take in a lot of knowledge on this stuff. As far as wrestling goes, that I can give major props to the I won't go through the whole introduction he does for himself most of the time, but Chiseled Adonis, go check him out, go subscribe. No, he didn't tell me to do this. I'm just saying, but he does these commentaries and stuff like that, and he did a live stream that ended up getting or whatever that got put back to YouTube because YouTube copyright, all this fun stuff. He's dealt with it a lot. But he has a condensed commentary video with moments from the stream as well as like clips of things that happened. And I've watched it a bunch of times, and I think it was about then. I think it was because of that and some of his other commentaries that's what got me into it. So basically last year, essentially. And then segueing from that, the first wrestlers I sort of, clung on to as far as favorites go ended up being, of course, Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. So, of course, and then it took a while, and then eventually I made one wrestling video, and then eventually it's, made more here and there. And then this year I've gotten into doing live reaction streams for all the pay-per-views. Or not all of them. Some of them like Clash of the Castle, Crown Jewel, Elimination Chamber. If it's in the morning, like because of time zones, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it because I'm working. And then it also depends on if my mother's home or not, because some weekends she's away, some weekends she's home. If she's home, then I can't really do that stuff. If she's away, then I can, because I watch on the TV out here, got table set up, all that fun stuff. So yeah, there's that. And, I've had rants. The most watched video on my channel is Becky Bianca, SummerSlam. Y'all know the story,
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, that was, that blew all my other videos up out of the water. It's insane, honestly.
Yeah, and you went to your first WWE show not long
ago. Yep, absolutely. So the original plan I've been thinking of was going to Survivor Series in Boston, which is next weekend. Of course, it's literally right after. It's the thing I ended up realizing later on is, one, I have to get the next day off work, and also probably end up staying in a hotel that night because it's Boston. I'm not driving the fuck out of there at night. I've been to Boston on like school field trips, but I've never driven there. And then I come to find out, oh, hey, the SmackDown right before Extreme Rules is going to be in Worcester. And it's basically the Friday after my birthday. So, after I turned 21. So I'm like, okay, got to take it for that. Mentioned it with my mom, but she doesn't have a problem with me going, but I've also never been to Worcester. I've never driven there whatsoever. So and Worcester, from what I've been told, it's not the most fun place in the world, especially to get lost in. So what ended up happening was I mentioned it to my dad. He agreed. And so with the sentiment from my mom, so I'm like, okay, well, you want to go? Because his birthday was literally the next week. So it fell between mine and his. And I don't do a whole lot of stuff with my dad anymore. I don't live with him, still in the same town, but I don't live with him. But I wanted to go do that. And so we did. And I had a hell of a lot of fun. Loads of videos on the channel. Some have blown up a bit, relatively speaking. the two dudes that were sitting next to me, they had 3 different title belts between them. And the guy that was directly next to me let me hold one of them. And I got a picture with the 3 of them, each of us holding them before the show and all that. And it was, and if you watch the broadcast back, there are plenty of shots where you can see me in the background. It's legitimately insane. I had so much fun that night. It was crazy. It was, and that's the thing is I was told, like going into this, like immerse yourself in the crowd, allow yourself to have fun. And I did. I don't want to be one of those guys that pays all this money to go to one of these shows and then just sits on their fucking hands and does nothing. Like some of these crowds that you see at Raw and SmackDown are just ass-tastic. I wanted to have fun, and I had fun. So
my story for the wrestling shows when I went last year, especially Monday Night Raw when I went in Raleigh, North Carolina, and there we went to the PNC Arena, and it was my first time going there. It's where the Carolina Hurricanes play, the hockey team. So we went, and it was Cross versus Ricochet for like one of the matches or something.
Oh, and, this was when Vince was fucking crossover. So, oh my god. This is why I'm so glad Triple H is running WWE, man. Like, he hasn't gotten everything perfect, but he's done a hell of a lot better. Okay, he absolutely has.
Yeah, and when the show was going on, you're watching all these matches. It was a good Monday Night Raw show. I was lucky to go to a really good Monday Night Raw show. Yeah. And it was when Roman Reigns, Big E, Bobby Lashley were wrestling.
Oh, and, that triple threat thing. Yep.
Yeah, that triple threat match. And it was so freaking cool seeing all this mayhem going everywhere. And crazy enough, that was like the last time that we seen Nia Jax on Monday Night Raw, which is crazy. That was the last night we saw her.
Yeah.
Eva Marie was the last time we seen her.
Yep.
Even Mustafa Ali. That was like his last Monday Night Raw at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And,
but my all-time favorite moment, and I was glad to see him wrestle in person, and that was Jeff Hardy. I always wanted to see him wrestle in person. And when he won that match, I went bullet. I was excited. I was so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It sucks where he's at right now. Like, I understand him being AEW with his brother and all that, but just all the drug stuff coming back to bite him. It's just, it's like, I know he's been fighting for a long time, but you also have to wonder how much the people around him enable him. And if I had to pick a favorite moment for me going to SmackDown, and the difference between yours and your experience and mine is mine was the season premiere of SmackDown, or season premiere, but you know what I mean. That's what they label it as. And it was big. It was Legado del Fantasma debuted and beat the shit out of Hit Row, and Zelina Vega came back. She ended up finding that clip, posted to Twitter, asking, who it was, and then quickly found out it was me, followed me. She's liked some of my stuff since, and and that happened while I was at work. So I I went to clock out to go to lunch, and then I came up to my mom's because that's what I do, and I see this notification on my phone or on my YouTube that Zelina commented on the video in question. And I'm like, there's no way this is real, right? And I looked, I'm like, oh my God, that's her actual channel. What the hell? And then come to Twitter and come to find out that happened. I'm like, are you serious? It's a special feeling when you get followed by someone popular, like wrestling, NASCAR, YouTube, whatever. And I've been lucky enough to garner follows from a whole load of people. I mean, from like YouTube alone, like Tom Grossi, 5 Points Vids, Mike Corzemba, Flight Mike, I know I'm probably missing a couple, but Phantoms is another one. There's a couple of other ones I'm pretty sure I'm missing. And then wrestling, most of the wrestlers that follow me are more like smaller names, guys are more indie.
Independent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you're staticking for a second. But like again, Zelina followed me. Lady Frost, who used to be an Impact, she followed me. Her husband also followed me, had been following me, and then unfollowed at some point, but still interact from time to time. But I started to follow from her. Even just getting noticed. I mean, hell, I've been noticed by Alexa Bliss at least once. That was actually I'd gotten my Bray Wyatt Alexa Bliss shirt in the mail from Amazon, and then there was a post that was going around at somebody who was an Alexa Bliss fan. It was a dude getting bullied, whatever the hell. So I offer support to them because I've dealt with that sort of thing going up through school, and Alexa liked the post, and so of course I have that saved in a file on my computer and all that stuff. So that was crazy when that happened. It's just crazy in general getting knowledge, whether it's a like, a retweet, a follow, a reply, anything really. And it's something you really shouldn't take for granted. Like, I know in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't quite matter. It's social media, it's Twitter, and all that. But to me, it matters because being a kid from a small town that, and I've been on Twitter for over 6 years now, to be hovering around 2K followers on there, and I mean, it's always fluctuating, but to be hovering around there and having all these, different people notice me and follow or interact or whatever, it means a lot. Being a guy that never really had friends growing up. So,
yeah.
So I guess I should ask, have you ever been like noticed, outside of like NASCAR, like YouTube or whatever, just like through, like wrestlers or something like that, just somebody popular, like noticing you through on Twitter, what have you?
Besides Heyman Adam Page, because he's from my hometown, and
Nice.
I never met him in person, never met the guy, and
Right.
but his grandmother knows who my mom is as well.
Wow.
And one time, and I actually got pretty much every single Heyman Adam Page action figure right now. Pretty much every action figure.
Right.
And since my mom knows Heyman's grandma, I gave my action figure to my mom and see if Heyman is coming to town. Heyman lives in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Right.
And she got my action figure signed by Heyman, which that's really
That's
cool.
awesome.
And
That's legitimately
so ever
awesome.
since, because like I bought a couple of Heyman shirts, I even got a signed picture autograph of Hangman. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If there's an AEW show coming by, go to it. It is worth the time.
Yeah, I know they've gone to Boston. I think they've done Worcester. I can't remember. I mean, it'd probably be fun, but just AEW is just not. It's not my thing, especially with all the drama surrounding them. All that stuff. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy. Like if you want to be there, I'm happy for you. Like for the wrestlers, especially. I mean, freaking Saraya, formerly known as Paige, is gonna have her first match in years against Britt Baker at Full Gear. She's legitimately been cleared. Like, I mean, we've seen this before with Bryan Danielson, Edge, a bunch of others who've had neck problems and have been able to come back to wrestle and still wrestle at a high level. And I'm hoping that the same will be true for Paige, Saraya, because it's in her case, it's crazy because her and AJ Lee were right before the true women's revolution in WWE when you had which really started with Paige and NXT, but it got going even further with the Four Horsewomen, Alexa and some of these others and whatnot. And honestly, I just hope for all the best for her, because of course, as we all know, one wrong move, you're fucked. So, and in Soraya's case, it's an interesting one, but yeah.
Because when I went to the AEW show, I went to Fight for the Fallen last year.
Right, yeah.
And it was such a fucking amazing show ever. The entrance, the pyro, seeing the entrance with Hangman, and walking out with his theme and doing the gun sign, the finger sign, the gun pointing sign. Yeah, it was so freaking dope. And then all of a sudden you see the Toon Squad coming out with Kenny Omega and
the Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks. The Young Bucks couldn't give, I couldn't get tongue out of it. But anyway, seeing all that happening. Yeah. Seeing all of that happening in the match and the crowd. I tell you what, the crowd where I was are hilarious people. They'll say smear peanut butter on him or something, or and one time Audrey, the referee, there was a sign, somebody had a sign and saying Final Fantasy is overrated, and Audrey was pointing towards us. I thought she was pointing at us at first. And I was and my friend Zach was right next to me and was is she talking to us? I'm I have no idea. And then we turn around, that's where we see the sign. But man, the excitement, the PRs, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
The humor is so hilarious. The guy's saying smear peanut butter all over him. As somebody's, the meme where that video where the guy in the crowd said, "Twist his dick." That.
Yeah,
video?
I feel like I've heard that one a few times. Yeah.
Somebody yelled that out, and I totally forgot about that video. I bust out laughing. It was great. And somebody, I can't remember which match it was. I think it was the Lance Archer match. And somebody in the crowd was kiss him! Kiss him! Make out with him!
Oh my god. That's crazy.
And when Nick Gage and versus Chris Jericho match happened, that was so wild. One of the craziest
it's crazy to see Jericho still go at his age, and he still looks pretty solid for himself. Crazy.
And after the actual AEW show went off air, that's when they filmed the dark matches.
Exactly. Yeah. Or what have you. Yeah. When I went to SmackDown, the one that they did was Priest versus Riddle. I believe Riddle won. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then the match before the show was Shinsuke versus one of Los Lotharios. I want to say it was Angel. It was Angel, and Shinsuke won, which was neat. As well. So yeah.
We were doing the dark matches, and it was Dante versus crap, I can't remember his name now. Can't think on top of my head, and I just thought about it the other day. But Dante was wrestling, and that's when me and Zach, we sat from those matches until we got to the Dante match. It was the last match for the dark match. So we actually sat in the very front, sat in the front. And you could see us. You could legitimately see us in the background, which it was really cool.
That's nice. I feel like I remember seeing people pointing that out on maybe because I know people pointed out Danny B in the background of an episode of AEW on Twitter, so I wouldn't be surprised if people found you too.
And since people are there, you got people posting their vlogs on YouTube channel, and I saw me in the background, and I also saw myself sometimes in the AEW live show, especially when John Moxley is walking. He actually walked by me.
That's awesome. That's crazy. Yeah, you're in the presence of
really
greatness
close.
right there.
Yeah, he was like really close, and then he threw a freaking water bottle on the ground, like straight ahead. I thought he threw the bottle and hit somebody. I mean, that'd be interesting. But man, seeing Heyman wrestle in person, he did a great job, but sucks he lost the match, which I was sad. But seeing like Tanera Mello, Tanya,
Tay Mello, well, that's her
that's her real name.
Yeah, that's a real name because otherwise known as Tay Conti, of course, dating Sammy Guevara. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, that was cool seeing her wrestle. I saw her wrestle at the dark match. That was pretty cool. But one of the best moments in that dark match is seeing the Acclaim. And what's funny about the Acclaim that night when they roasted Julia Hart, that is the rap diss that got cut out of the AEW show.
Yeah, I remember that.
I got the whole
Max
thing recorded.
Oh my god, he is something else. Like, he takes the whole Dr. Thugonomics thing, puts his own spin on it, but he blurs the lines so hard. He does. It's crazy. Like the amount of shit he gets away with.
It's so funny. And when I found out it got taken off that show, I was like, I got that on video. Holy moly. Holy crap, I got that all on video. And it's on my vlog right now. And and besides and after the show was over, me and Zach walked out to go to pretty much like chill with other wrestling fans and might meet another wrestler. And that's where me and Zach ran into JD Drake. And he wrestled that night too. We ran into him, and that's when I had him in the vlog. He's like, "Can you say what's up to the vlog?" He's like, "I don't want to say what's up to the vlog. Who is this? Who? What is the name of this vlog? What is this name called?" And I was like, and it's like, "You don't even have a name for this vlog." And I looked down and I said, "This is my first AEW vlog. My first time to go to an AEW show." He's like, "You had fun?" He's like, I said, "Hell yeah, it was awesome, man."
Yeah.
And he was so cool, so nice and everything. And so after the show, we met with a couple people at the outside, just talking to them. One of them was drunk as hell.
Oh God!
Which didn't surprise me, but he was having a great time. And he was mainly stoned and drunk. Actually, he was really high that night.
Oh,
and another dude that was really cool. And he follows me on social media and all kinds of stuff, and watch my YouTube channel. And it was so cool seeing meeting people at these shows, and they're actually at the end of the vlog too, which is funny about that too. We were just there having a good time, just talking to other fans, other people that were at the show. But WWE show, I wish I stayed after that night, because I want to talk to the other people and might come across a wrestler after the show. But I actually, I don't know if they did it at SmackDown, they probably did, where they had like mini fan games to do on the.
I don't know. I know that they did, like, in between like commercial breaks, they like pandered the camera around. There was at one point they did the signs, and the guy next to me had one side of his sign had a thing for Gunther on it. And his got shown. So like you can't see me, but you can see my hand pointing at him, kind of. So there's that.
because the people, this guy next to me, I can't remember his name, but he was so cool, one of the coolest dudes ever, and he saw where I was vlogging too, and they were doing like these mini things with the camera, like do your best Hulk Hogan,
Oh
um,
God.
do your best Hulk Hogan impersonating. I did not do the John Cena because I'm not a John Cena fan, FY. But they were doing the "you can't see me" thing. They were doing all kinds of stuff, and then me and this dude were doing it together, trying to get on the screen. And then when it gets close to the end of the show, I realized I was like, I'm wearing my Hangman shirt. That's why they're not showing it.
Damn.
Me and Zach wore our Hangman T-shirt, and I was like, I'm going to a WWE show to wear my AEW shirt. I mean, what can go wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened really, but it was.
Yeah.
It was.
That's the thing is
It was
like
interesting.
Yeah, like there's everybody wants to paint this whole, including some people like in the dirt sheets, looking at you, Brian Alvarez, who want to paint this whole WWE versus AEW. It's fucking bullshit, man. It's stupid. Don't do that. Like tribalism in wrestling is the worst. Maybe tribalism in politics is worse, but tribalism in wrestling is just as bad. And it's just like, again, if you go and experience one of these shows, whether it's one of the big shows, not the big show, just one of the big, WWE shows, Raw, SmackDown, if you manage to get your ass into NXT, or a house show for that matter, like it doesn't matter. Like it's what you see on social media is 9 times out of 10 not what you're going to see amongst like the general public that go to one of these shows, because they could care less. They're just there to have a good time. Now, some people, they like to ruin that good time for other people. Case in point, Peoria, Illinois, some idiot threw water, probably a drunk idiot, threw water at Scarlett Bordeaux at ringside. And this was a house show recently. I believe this from like last weekend. I believe, if I remember correctly from what I saw, the story is like Scarlett, obviously being a heel, whatever, arguing with one of the kids in the crowd, whatever, and then just had a drink thrown at her. She tweeted about it later. I mean, she's from Chicago. She understands it, but also like, what the hell? But the thing with Scarlett is just like, you don't fuck with her, because if you fuck with her, you're fucking with Karrion Kross, and he is not the guy you want to mess with. Like, I mean, like, having watched him on Twitch, like, because when he was still independent, when he got released from WWE and when he came back, he would go on Twitch almost every week, basically health hours, although it would often go long over an hour, and just shoot the shit with the people in the chat, and and just talk about like a lot of different stuff, including stuff going with him, and then questions that anybody had, especially health related stuff. He's chill as fuck. He absolutely is. We've interacted through Twitter very, every now and again. He is chill as fuck. Like there's with him, there's there's always been the rumor that he's been anti-vax. When Jeff Hardy was announced that he had COVID back in 2020 or last year or whatever, people were like, "Oh, he got it from Cross from wrestling him." Like, no, stop.
No.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and that's the other thing too, is like wrestling fans, they need to understand what they say on social media. Like the wrestlers, and this also goes for NASCAR fans too. They see this shit. Like you often see, like it's like they don't have to call it out, but a lot of wrestlers call this stuff out. I mean, Alexa Bliss, for example, she deals with it all the time, and it's stupid. Like when Bray got let go, people try to pile on her because allegedly she stole the Fiend Bray's gimmick and all this. It's like, stop. That's bullcrap. Stop.
Yeah,
it's like that. I like fuck R. Kelly, but like it's like that one meme of him from that interview. That's stupid. Use your common sense. Like,
yeah. I was actually kind of looking at the schedule for some wrestling shows next year, and I definitely want to check out an Impact wrestling show just for the
Yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
And I definitely want to go to a Combat Zone wrestling show, CZW.
Yeah, I've heard of them. It's crazy to think they're still going. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
there's that. I mean,
I
it's
would
just like, yeah. Mm, sorry.
I just wouldn't mind going there and just
Mm,
watch it. But what's crazy that you can bring your own like they need like weapons like chairs and
hmm.
anything they can use against the wrestlers. And I was like,
Yep.
I want to be that guy to bring a actual die cast that's metal, like an elite,
Oh
for
god.
example, and just give it to them, and just have it like chuck it at them or something.
Oh my fucking god. Just make sure it's not
I
one of your
know.
more prized ones. Just be like, just be
Oh, no,
one.
no,
Just
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
yeah,
No.
like I have this. I don't know why I have it. Ah, fuck it. Yeah, that would be insane.
Like, I just want somebody to use this diecast and just like have it and just like on their skull
It's
or
like,
something.
yeah,
Do it something. Yeah, that would be something.
yeah,
And
exactly,
I'll have it recorded and everything. And be like, oh, he's got the diecast. Yo, let's do it.
exactly, yeah.
So I want to go to those. I
Mm,
would like to go to like a UFC show for sure.
mm.
Um, I mean, I would like to go to a professional football, professional baseball, basketball,
Exactly, yeah.
hockey
It's just
game.
ticket prices are asinine. It's ridiculous.
It's just for the experience.
Oh yeah,
But if I went to a
absolutely, yeah.
football game, if I go to a football game, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I really want to go to a
Patriots.
game. Patriots got yeah. I mean, you're from New Hampshire, but
Yep.
I mean, but but like NBA, I don't really have an NBA team. I just want to go for the experience and try to
Yeah,
see if I can meet a
definitely.
couple players. I know a couple
Mhm.
players though.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
I wouldn't mind meeting these people. Go to a Hurricanes game. I wouldn't mind meeting those people. I just like meeting people in general and talking
Yeah,
to them, getting
exactly,
to
yeah.
know them a bit. Um, but for wrestling, who do you think will dethrone Roman Reigns?
Oh god. See, the thing is that that's a question that's been asked for months and it can go a load of different ways. There's various ways that you can do it. Supposedly it came out recently that they were thinking of doing something back at Clash in the Castle involving Theory's cash in. It was a whole convoluted mess that probably wouldn't have worked. It would have looked weird. I
Mm-hmm.
still maintain the idea that it's going to have to be a triple threat. It's going to have to be 2 out of 3 falls because if you're going to split the titles, you don't just hand both of them to somebody and then they vacate one of them. No, you got to have two guys win them off of him. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do it, it has to be at WrestleMania. So if you're not going to get The Rock for WrestleMania 39 at Hollywood next year, which honestly I don't think they will, unless Triple H pulls something out of his ass. Honestly, what it needs to be is it has to be Roman versus Cody versus Seth. Ideally, Cody comes back at the Rumble, probably eliminates
Mm-hmm.
Seth, and then wins the Rumble. Seth goes into the Elimination Chamber, which is going to be in Canada next year, which is neat. He goes into the Elimination Chamber and wrecks the hell out of everybody because
Mm-hmm.
he wants to be in that match. So, and Roman can look at it as the way Roman can look at it is Rhodes and Rollins rekindling their feud from this year are just going to tear each other apart. And
Mm-hmm.
Roman can pick up two quick pins and win the damn and keep both belts. But Rhodes and Rollins show respect. They
Mm-hmm.
understand Roman's got to get dethroned. He can't keep holding the belts
Yeah.
forever. So now, here's the thing. Rollins has to take the first fall for the Universal belt because honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it's either 2 out of 3 falls main event night 2, and Rollins takes the first fall to win the Universal belt, and then Rhodes takes the second fall to win the WWE belt, because when he came back, he delivered that first promo. He said he wants the WWE title. He wants the title his father never got to officially win, because of course the famous story is Dusty won it, but it was, I believe, by count out, which means it didn't count, because it unless otherwise stated previously. So title didn't change hands. Rhodes wants it. He wants, and even though Dusty's passed on, he wants the belt that his father was never able to win. And it's either you do that, or Roman main events both nights, with one match being for the Universal title and the other being for the WWE title. So you would do Roman versus Cody night 1. Cody wins the WWE title. He has his moment. And then you do Roman versus Rollins night 2, or something like that, and Rollins gets it done and whatnot. And then beyond that, who knows? Personally, I'm loving everything with Sami and the Usos right now. Like, he said in an interview fairly recently that this has actually gone on longer than it was originally intended to. And I think it's because, like, the bloodline being so invested in it, the fans being so invested in it. Like, this is easily Sami's best work of his entire career. It's just now it's a question of it's either when is he going to get kicked out, or is Jay going to be the one to get kicked out? Because honestly, if you're going to do it, it's got to be like Jay. Again, go back to that promo from a couple weeks ago. Jay basically saying he doesn't give a damn what Roman says. And of course, Sami saved it. But, like, that's going to come back up. It's going to come back up eventually. I mean, the Usos just beat the New Day and beat their record for longest reigning tag champs. So there's not a ton else that they can do at the moment. You just have to build somebody up to get it done. And then after that, it's a matter of splitting the belts again, like with Roman. So if I had to pick, it's either you do triple threat 2 out of 3 falls main event night 2, or you do 2 separate matches, main eventing both nights. Rhodes wins night 1, Rollins wins night 2. And yeah, so that's honestly how I see it. Like,
but I could definitely see, like, I always pick Cody Rhodes. I think, like, they're just waiting on Cody Rhodes to get better. But I do see Cody Rhodes definitely getting involved for sure.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is it came out, Vince didn't necessarily have that in the cards for Cody, which is really fucking weird. Like, what was he going to do after the Rollins feud was done? That's my question.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Time
will only tell on this one.
Exactly, yeah. But that Hell in a Cell match that Rhodes had with Rollins, I live reacted that night. Seeing Rhodes' arm, how fucked up it was, I'm like, how the hell? And then he goes on to do that match, easily what might be match of the year, or it's a definitely contender. It's crazy. And it's also a testament to Rollins being trusted. He was trusted to do Rhodes' first match back in WWE without a whole lot going into it. And he was trusted to do this match with Rhodes, with Rhodes' pec fucked up like that. Mad respect to Seth. Mad fucking respect.
It was insane.
Exactly. Like, just seeing him slowly reveal his arms, like, what the flying?
Yeah. It was pretty wild seeing all that kind of stuff. And, I think with Cody Rhodes coming back, definitely be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns, get the title, get a title from him. Roman
Exactly.
Seth Rollins, yeah, I could see him getting involved for that because I mean he's the one who did attack Cody Rhodes, so I could see him
Yeah,
being involved
and
with the championship.
Rollins and Roman have their history, of course. Remember, at the Rumble, Rollins technically won, but he won because Roman got DQ because he wouldn't let him out of the guillotine. So Rollins
Yeah,
won, but the title didn't change hands. So, which
yeah,
by the way, Rollins trolling Roman with the Shield stuff was absolutely perfect. It
yeah.
was
It was amazing.
perfect.
It was amazing. All right,
Definitely.
so well, I got two more questions left. One of them
Okay.
is, what is your favorite wrestling entrance song?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wrestling entrance song. Ooh. Oh, that's ooh. Hoo, hoo. See, here's the thing, right? WWE, ever since they moved away from the CFOs, and CFOs put out a lot of
Hmm.
bangers. It's Def Rebel or
Yeah,
whoever the hell they have doing it now. Summer hits, summer misses. Um, you know, shit. Huh. I mean, honestly, I kind of have to go with what Bray Wyatt came back with when he, upon
yeah.
coming
It
back
is.
to
It
Extreme
is a
Rules,
banger.
which, yeah, that's which they still haven't released that theme yet. WWE Music still hasn't released it
Mm-mm.
yet. They're going to at some point, but they haven't yet. That's kind of pissing people off. But I mean, that whole thing just like live reacting to elimination to Extreme Rules, watching the whole
Hmm.
damn thing, my voice already being kind of shot from the night before, and just waiting and waiting for Bray to show up, and then fight pit main events.
Hmm.
I believe Riddle beat Rollins, and then after all of that, and then that's when it happens, and it's just like I'm watching on stream, and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually happening. And then he comes out
Hmm.
and then reveals himself from the mask. It's like, oh my god, it's insane. And I'm been
Yeah.
it's everything he's done since. It's it's a building process. It's building the whole thing with Uncle Howdy. Him and LA Knight. Rumor has it and Knight might be facing off at Survivor Series. If so, that's a hell of a first match to come
Hmm.
back for because, like, if you take away the whole Maximum Male Models thing, just look at what
Hmm.
Knight did in NXT. Look at the shit he did with,
Hmm.
with Cameron Grimes and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Like, that alone, right there.
Hmm.
Or hell, just go back to anything Knight did before. Like, in whatever fucking promotions he was in before. Like, the dude is good. And so
Yeah.
you know, Bray getting to face Knight, that's gonna be good. If we
Hmm.
get that at Survivor Series, it's gonna be good. And it's
Hmm.
interesting because nobody expected Bray to go after Knight. Like,
Hmm.
we've seen a couple of teasers with Alexa so far, which I am
Yeah.
all for that. Bray made it
Yeah.
clear in one of his promos he wants to rewrite the ending of his story, aka
Hmm.
WrestleMania 37. He was supposed to win. He was supposed to beat
Yeah.
Orton, and then Vince changed it. Alexa turns on him, and then you have all the fuckery that came after because Orton was supposed to get
Yeah.
time off. So
Hmm.
now Wyatt comes back. You have this whole thing with Uncle Howdy, which the way a lot of people see it, and I agree, is Howdy is Bray himself. It's Bray fighting himself. It's him fighting
Hmm.
his inner demons, and
Hmm.
and Howdy seems to be alluding so much to being upset that Bray put away the Fiend, which was more
Yeah.
WWE than Bray, but you know,
Hmm.
and that again plays into the whole rewriting the end of his story.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of time of when when does Bray set in motion, or Uncle Howdy for that matter, set in motion to go after Alexa. And I think he's already
Yeah.
kind of doing that via Nikki. Um,
Hmm.
because Nikki got involved at Crown Jewel in the tag match, only attacked Alexa, and they ended up losing the titles back to Dakota and Io, which that was a whole weird thing, them winning on Raw, then losing it. But anyway, it's good to see Alexa Bliss having some sort of direction again, because for us fans, and Alexa has one of the most dedicated fan bases out there. Granted, parts of it are toxic. There are some toxic motherfuckers out there. I don't think anybody can argue Sasha fans or stans can be the worst. There are certain parts of Alexa's fan base that are pretty bad. But for genuine fans like myself, it's good to see her having some sort of direction again. Because you had the return, the therapy vignettes for when she came back at the beginning of the year, after, of course, losing an Extreme Rules last year to Charlotte, which was because of nasal surgery she needed. And then she comes back at Elimination Chamber, and then nothing. And it's like, well, what the fuck's going on? You know? Sorry. Just address. Oh, got it. It's just like, it's good to see her having some sort of direction again. You know, it's come out, she's pitching stuff to Triple H, and now Bray's back, so you know she's gonna want to work with him again. And the thing is like, it's just gonna be interesting to see where it all leads to. Again, she's gonna be in the War Games match, and which I'm excited. I'm excited for Survivor Series, because bringing War Games to the main roster, oh man, that's gonna be nuts. Both matches are going to be wild. I mean, you have Bloodline versus the Brutes, McIntyre, and Kevin Owens is supposed to be the fifth man, from what it sounds like, but he got hurt at a house show on Sunday. Sprained MCL, I believe. So, and he's been rehabbing it at the Performance Center. Rumor has it he's going to be at SmackDown tomorrow. But it's a question of, is he going to be able to perform or not? If he can, he'll be in it. If not, you got to find somebody to replace him as the fifth guy. Which it would suck for Owens to be hurt like that, especially because the night before in Peoria, he said he was coming back to Raw and put everybody on notice. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting once Survivor Series comes around, which I will be watching for sure.
Absolutely.
With the back to the question about like favorite wrestling entrance song, I have several. I'm a huge Undertaker fan. He's one of my idols. Always been a huge Undertaker fan, and I like pretty much all his entrance songs he did, including Ministry of Darkness. I mean, that the guitar,
it's
just
all you got to do is hear that gong, and you got shivers rolling down your spine.
Yeah, and like Alexa Bliss, like her theme. When I was at Monday Night Raw and she was doing the Bray Wyatt, doing
it's like her version, kind of. It's
yeah, and when her song came on, like. And I was listening to it, but once it gets to like the drop beat, the banger and everything in that song, I was like, I love this song.
She's had a few different ones. Like, there's everybody, like the one that she had during her Goddess days, people value a lot. She's got her current one. The one she has right now, she actually had a part in as far as like lyrics and stuff. I believe singing them in a way. So, which is neat to see. But yeah, she's had a few of them.
The one I'm trying to find the name. The Evil Is Mine. That's it.
Yeah. There's that one. Spiteful was the one that she had as the goddess. So.
Like when I was listening to The Evil Is Mine, I was like, it's okay. But once they've dropped beats, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then after that show, I was like, hey Zach, we're gonna listen to this song in the car. So we did. We cranked the stereo up, and I was like, The Evil Is Mine. I was like,
I gotta. That's the cool thing with themes, is that you go on YouTube and you can find all these different mashups, and there are some bangers out there.
Yeah.
There's one involves the themes from Cassius Ono and Jason Jordan, which also features in it. Then towards the later in the video, Eminem comes into it as far as the matchup goes. That's an absolute banger. There's a couple that shouldn't work, but they do. CM Punk and crap. Who's Miro's wife? Shit. What the hell was her name in WWE? God damn it.
You talking about Lana?
Yes. The Cult of Personality mixed with Lana's theme. It should not work, but it is a fucking banger. It somehow, like, Lana's theme somehow fits with it. Nikki ASH's theme with one of Keith Lee's WWE themes also fits extremely well. Like, there's that one. There's a Seth Rollins Carmelo one back when Carmelo was doing the whole fabulous thing. There's that one. That's another. There's Christian and Shinsuke.
I'll be honest about Seth Rollins' theme right now. The beat with the drums and the guitar and everything, especially when he comes out and starts dancing. Yeah. It's actually really catchy. I enjoy it so
His
much.
His theme is so over. The crowd just it's like him, Rollins' current theme, and Jericho with the Judas theme. They're so fucking over. It's insane.
Yeah,
like you get the crowd just singing them. I mean, hell, the crowd sang Jericho's theme when he couldn't even have it for a particular match. I think that was during his whole saga with MJF, I believe. Something like that, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And like we were still singing the song when the song went off when I went to the AEW show. It was that wild. And,
exactly, yeah.
And one of and I like old school wrestling themes as well, but I always like My Time by Triple H when he started becoming the Game with Stephanie.
Yeah.
And I just love the main beat of that song and the rhythm of it, because it just makes you feel like a badass. And who else got great? Like Dead Man Walking, You're Gonna Pay, Undertaker's theme when he was the American Badass.
Yeah,
Limp Bizkit. Badass.
Yep.
Jeff Hardy, No More Words, Matt Hardy's theme.
People marked out when that came back. That was I believe Cross's debut match on the main roster. Speaking of which, his theme, like his theme and everything Scarlett does in it. Oh my god, bro! I'm glad I'm so glad I got footage of it live when I went to SmackDown, because I had to do that. I had to record that.
Yeah.
That was what I had to do, and it's amazing. It absolutely is.
Man, I wish I had a chance to see Undertaker wrestle in person. Man, that would definitely be man. I want to meet the man so bad.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite. I always want to meet Undertaker. If I ever get the chance and opportunity, it's one of those chances and risk I will take to meet the man. I would go to Texas, all the way to Texas, just to meet him.
I mean, if you're going to Texas, there's a lot of different guys you can meet down there. Him, Austin, JBL. There's a few of them, you know.
Yeah, and
obviously
also
with me,
Cowboys game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously with me, it's like if I ever if I ever meet Alexa in person, I might just cry, because like that'll be huge for me. Her, Bray, Bianca, Liv. I mean,
Liv is cool.
Yeah, I like watching Money in the Bank, watching her win. That was awesome, because like the thing is, like, she was supposed to win last year. And I think if I remember correctly, the rumor had it that like I'll give Nikki props. She did put together the whole ASH thing, and I think got rewarded for it by winning Money in the Bank, cashing in on Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when Liv came out to cash in on Ronda, it's like, oh my God, why are you cashing out? Why now? Why now? And then she won. It's just like, oh, it's like you can't feel nothing but happiness for her, because that's the first time she's ever won gold on the main roster. She never won tag gold with the Riot Squad. And it felt like that team was together for like forever, which is wild. Yeah. And speaking of Riot Squad, tiny rant. Sarah Logan. Look, everybody's got their opinions of her outside of WWE. Her opinions, whatever. That's the side note. Her coming back, and I have no problem with her coming back with Ivar and Eric. I mean, she's married to Ivar. Yeah. The whole Viking thing, it fits her. The problem is the look that she came back with, and this got people riled the fuck up, and in some ways rightfully so, is she came back basically as a discount version of in LGBTQ indie star named Max the Impaler. And it pissed people off because, especially considering, again, Max is LGBTQ and it's all like Sarah's all right wing or whatever the hell. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am excited to see what Sarah will do with the Viking Raiders.
I'm happy to see her come back too.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what she does with them, especially because they attacked both Hit Row and Legado del Fantasma. So you've got a whole three-way faction thing going there. But I hope they change up her look real freaking quick. And I understand like some people are quick to point out some of the mythology, the Norse mythology, the Viking mythology, all this other shit. And I understand that. But as another indie star,
me playing God of War Ragnarok right now.
There are so many different looks that Logan could have gone with. And yet she chose that one. And it closely resembles Max while being a discount version of Max. It's crazy.
Speaking about Norse mythology, me playing God of War Ragnarok right now.
Yeah,
I'm really deep into that game right now. But like, I mean, we'll see how that goes once it comes by again. But my last question for tonight for the broadcast.
Absolutely.
What is your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Oh God. Okay, so I feel like you have to do this. There's like 4 different like parts. You have like the past as far as like both men and women, and then currently men and women. From the past. Like, and I'll start with the women because I feel like that's easier to do. Mount Rushmore win. Chyna. She deserves a solo induction in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. Lita. Trish. And I'm gonna have to say Mickie James. Honestly, especially because like, and I know Mickey's still competing. She's on her last rodeo, through Impact, whatever. She got to walk in as Knockouts champion at the Rumble this year. That was awesome. I mean, if you're talking about like from the past, it's those 4, and there's other names you can throw on there: Victoria, Jazz, Ivory. If you want to go way farther back, you've got Wendy Richter, stuff like that. There's plenty to go with. Women currently, biased. I don't care. Alexa, absolutely. Becky, because let's be honest,
the first one.
Alexa, and that's just being biased. Okay. But like, come on. Becky, absolutely, because again, it's crazy to think one errant punch from Nia Jax. Not to mention the fans, like it's just that and how the fans responded to the Ronda Charlotte match because whatever that happened at Survivor Series as a result because Becky was supposed to face Ronda, champ versus champ, got hurt, couldn't do it, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's just like that moment, the crowd just elevated Becky even further, and she's done so much. Like when she turned heel last year, it didn't quite work at first, especially because she just came back, but she worked it, and she did a lot with it, and she's had one hell of a career. I mean, hell, she just got to play Cyndi Lauper in the Young Rock show. Like that is awesome. Mm-hmm. Legitimately awesome. So you got those two. Mm-hmm. Sasha, because look, let's be honest. Like I know, like a lot of people probably throw Charlotte on there, and I understand that. But my biggest gripe with Charlotte is that she's been so over pushed, which does make me interested to see how she'll get pushed with Triple H. But Sasha, honestly, got fucked over because of booking being more in favor of Charlotte a bunch of times. Like, but at the same time, Sasha's also been a part of some of the biggest moments in both between NXT and WWE main roster as far as the popularization of Western women's wrestling. She's been a huge part of it. And, nobody knows what's going to happen with her right now. She's still under contract with WWE. She's just been gone because of the whole fucking walkout thing with Naomi and Vince being a pissant. And it's a question of whether or not she'll be back. She's been doing a lot of stuff outside of WWE, and I'm happy for her. Don't get me wrong. But at least if she ends up being done with WWE completely, and like they do whatever they got to do with the contract, whatever. At least she did get a WrestleMania win, and it was a tag title win with Naomi. Like, because Sasha left WWE and didn't come back without ever winning at WrestleMania, that'd be an absolute shame. So, Alexa, Becky, Sasha. Who the hell would be the fourth? Oh my God. See, the fourth one, like the fourth one, it feels like you have to go back to the Divas era in a bit. It kind of has to be Paige because, again, technically, the Women's Revolution started in NXT with her and Emma when Paige became the first NXT Women's Champion. And, of course, we all know what she did. Her first night on Raw, her first night on the main roster, beats AJ Lee right after WrestleMania. Like, it's sad. Like, again, the neck injuries that fucked her over, they're the knees to the back from Sasha, which that was, like, Paige has said numerous times. It was an accident. Like, because people piled on Sasha for it. It's like, no. It was an accident. It's just an unfortunate accident that it fucked up her neck and kept her out of wrestling for so long. But, again, like Paige and AJ Lee, it's just like if they came in a year or two later with all of the talent that we've seen since, I mean, and there's always the question out there, will AJ Lee ever come back to wrestling, like actually wrestling? Like she's involved with it with Women of Wrestling. I believe that's the promotion she's involved in. And I believe she said before that she's content with her career to this point, but that itch is going to come back. That itch is probably there, and it's just about waiting for the right time. Obviously not right now with the Punk drama, but maybe one day. But currently, as far as women go, Bliss, Lynch, Banks, Paige. Now we go to the men, which is instantaneously harder. From the past, Austin, you have to have him on the Mount Rushmore because it's fucking Steve Austin. Like,
Yeah.
Everybody knows if the Montreal Screwjob doesn't happen, we never get, the Mr. McMahon character the way we got him. And if the curtain call never happens, Austin never wins King of the Ring and never delivers the 316 promo, which built him up. So
blew him up.
it's those two butterfly effect things that happened, that changed WWE forever. So obviously Austin. I mean, who else but Taker? I feel a need to throw Eddie Guerrero on there because, I mean, he fought his demons, and he's one of those guys, like, as far as people Vince would look for, he's not one of those guys. But Eddie beating Brock for the belt, it will always. And then the WrestleMania match that he had, that he won at of course, we all know what happened later that show. Benoit versus Michaels versus Trips. Benoit won. You have all the confetti raining down, the whole, the celebration between the two of them. Yeah, I know everything that happened afterwards with Benoit specifically, which is a whole other discussion for another day. But honestly, honestly, Eddie should be Eddie. He might not be on everybody's Mount Rushmore, but honestly, he's on mine because it's not just what he did, but him being a massive inspiration to a lot of wrestlers currently. Sasha being one of them.
Sasha Banks,
very well known. And I believe when the WrestleMania, I want to say it was either 31 or 32. The one that it was Sasha versus Charlotte versus Becky, I believe, triple threat for the newly debuted not Raw Women's title yet, the WWE Women's Championship. I believe her gear that night was a Guerrero tribute of sorts. So there's that. So Austin, Guerrero, Taker. The fourth, for me, would probably be. I gotta think long and hard on this one. Oh my god, I don't know, man. The fourth spot just feels like a massive toss up. It just does. Austin, Taker, Guerrero, Michaels. Honestly, Michaels.
Michaels, yeah,
definitely. Currently, as far as the men go, I mean, Roman has to be on there. Look, if disregarding everything else he's done in his career, the run that he's on now, love it or hate it, it's a phenomenal run. It is. It's crazy. I mean, it just is. So Roman.
It could be from any other wrestlers from different places.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, there are some from other places that you could probably throw on there, but I'm kind of focusing more on just WWE in a way.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of others. If you were to talk just wrestling across the board, I mean, you're throwing in a lot of New Japan. New Japan would probably be on a lot of people's Rushmores. Obviously Ring of Honor. People. And then again, a lot of these guys, people from Impact and Ring of Honor who ended up in WWE, specifically Ring of Honor, guys like D-Bry, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Cole, O'Reilly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All that. But so currently Roman, Bray, because Bray Wyatt is easily the most creative mind WWE or anyone in wrestling can offer. And it still boggles my mind how much Vince fucked him over the years. But he is easily the most creative mind in WWE. And fight me on that all you want. I'm right. Bray has to be on there just for the creative genius alone and the ability to repackage himself over and over and keep people invested so much, especially when he came out with the Firefly Funhouse and then the Fiend. Oh my God, absolutely. And then the current run he's on now. If you're gonna have Roman on there, you probably got to have Rollins on there because them two and Moxley will forever be intertwined. It's crazy because it's the Shield's anniversary this month. You know, when they from when they first debuted, I believe main roster wise. But Rollins, he's had a hell of a career. He has absolutely had one hell of a career, and a lot of people would say that he hasn't even hit his peak yet. That's the crazy part, is for everything he's done, there's so much more that he can do and that he's probably going to do, barring any health problems. And then as far as a current fourth, I mean, you could say Cena, you could say Lesnar. There's a few different guys that you could probably throw on there. But for me, honestly, Edge. The man knows how to make a comeback. He know whether he's himself or he's Brood Edge, he knows how to make a comeback. And I mean, he's the rated R superstar for a reason, and not just for the shit he did with Lita that one time. Yeah. Vince, what the fuck, man? But just he's done so much, and then to be gone for 9 years and then come back at the Royal Rumble and do and just one of the loudest pops you could probably ever hear in your life, and to keep going at the level that he's been able to go at with some of the stuff he's done. I mean, it's insane. It is to think he was gone for 9 years and then he comes back and does all this stuff. It's wild, man. And he's still going. Now he does plan on retiring at some point. I believe he said the next time that they go to Toronto probably would be when he does that. So I don't know, but it's crazy to think like him, Rey Mysterio probably in the next couple years. Randy Orton's probably only got a couple more years left, although he's out now. So with his injury that he's got now, who knows if that's going to be shortened. I mean, eventually Cena, The Rock, Lesnar, some of these other guys will step away from wrestling for good. Well, for good, you know. Yeah, but
like I can see Cena stepping out because he's doing a lot more movies now.
Exactly, yeah, and it's why I don't put any stock in WWE bringing in The Rock for WrestleMania 39 next year. He's just way too invested in Hollywood, and that schedule just keeps getting bigger, and he doesn't have the time anymore. I know if you want to like completely crown Roman, you want him to beat The Rock, but I just don't see it. So my Mount Rushmore
for the guys, and this goes to pretty much everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, one, Ric Flair, because of what he was able to do in the ring, and becoming a pretty technical wrestler, pretty much, and showing
he lived
wrestling
his
moves.
Gimmick, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And what he was able to do, and he's one of the greatest of all times for sure. And he's still kicking to this day. I mean, the dude still wrestle. He even wrestled this year.
Exactly. Match. Yeah. Like it feels like he's gonna end up dying in the ring at some point, and it maybe that's what he wants. Nobody's gonna stop him.
And I'm not gonna say stop doing that. I mean, the man just loves wrestling. It's what he does. Like when Ricky Steamboat came back in WrestleMania 25 and wrestled against Chris Jericho, the man was like at least in his 50s at least. The man still had it.
Exactly.
The man still got it.
Exactly.
And he was in decent
some
shape.
do.
Yes, and he was in pretty decent shape. my second person is Undertaker. The
Yep.
creativity, his career, one of the best careers you can have in wrestling. The
The streak.
WrestleMania streak,
Yep.
I'm still pissed about that. Brock Lesnar.
It's. I mean, well,
I
just
mean,
remember,
it's good.
Taker
It's
got
good. It's
concussed
good.
during that match. There's nothing he could
Yeah, he
do. He
did.
got
He did.
concussed, and the
He
streak
did.
was going to end eventually. I argue he should have retired undefeated. He should have
Yeah,
retired
he
undefeated.
should.
Probably
He
after
should
the
have
Triple H
retired.
match, but yeah.
Yeah, he should have retired in 2012
Mm.
of the Hell in a Cell match with Triple H.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
the
that
end of
shot
the
with
era.
him, Michaels, and Trips. It's. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes, and I understand like later on, it was Taker trying to find that perfect last match, and it's
yeah.
you know, yeah.
And
So
I mean, with him in the AJ Styles match at WrestleMania, uh,
36, yeah, the
which
Boneyard
it
match.
was it was it was it was so cool. I actually have I actually have some dirt from that match on a plaque,
Huh,
and it's hanging on my wall right
nice.
now. Because
That's
as a big
nice.
Undertaker guy, and that was going to be his last match for sure. I was like, I gotta get that, and I got it,
Yeah.
and
I'm
it's
sure
hanging on
you
my wall
cried
right
the night
now.
he was inducted in the Hall of Fame,
I
watching his
did. I
speech and
teared up
stuff.
a bit because he's always been been my favorite wrestler growing up. He was the
Hmm.
first wrestler I got into, and
Yeah.
he's always been my favorite wrestler of all times.
Yeah.
Now, um, for another person, and it's a good reason why I picked this dude, and I'm gonna put Triple H because for Triple H, besides him being a wrestler, it's what he done for NXT, his creativity for storylines and
Hmm.
other inspiration for other wrestlers to get better. And he's also a good in-ring performer, good wrestler,
Yeah.
and
He's
everything
come
that
back
he's
from major
done,
injuries a couple times.
come back from injuries and still had it,
Exactly.
and his storylines are really good. Most of them are really good, pretty much, if not all of
Yeah.
them.
I mean, everybody, there's the whole, reign of terror in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
but, it is what it is.
Yeah, like with him doing that, his WWE Championship reigns are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, his title runs are great. Being the bad guy in general, he can be good or bad, and people still like him.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah.
now the fourth person, it's thinking about it, but people could put like Roman Reigns, which it's not a bad choice as well.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put AJ Styles because of
Interesting.
what he was able to do from the Impact days, doing crazy moves, doing
Yeah.
the
TNA
title
back
runs,
then.
the, the title runs he was able to do coming into WWE, which it was one of the biggest pops,
It
and
was. Yeah.
also for AJ Styles to travel to New Japan, going to Impact, the WWE, and winning championships, winning
Yeah.
those titles, winning other titles from independent shows, all that kind of stuff is incredible.
Yeah.
And definitely a Hall of Famer, obviously a Hall of Famer
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
pretty
And the
much.
biggest thing for him was that, like, when he came in, he, like, he got so hot. Like, I think he won the WWE title, like, in his first year in WWE,
Yeah,
like the same year he debuted, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
So,
in 2016. Holy moly, that's almost 10 years if you think about it.
geez,
Um,
well, 2016 more, well, 6 years ago, but I know.
yeah, but
Time is a
it's gonna be
lost
almost
concept
10.
nowadays.
And like for him being in WWE, and also his theme song is catchy, but I prefer the one from Impact. I always
Mm,
like his theme from Impact a lot more. It fits him well.
mhm.
Him being a good guy or a bad guy, it works perfectly, and
Yeah.
he's good at what he does. And kind of like dealing with Jeff Hardy's situation. When Jeff Hardy, everybody likes Jeff Hardy when he's always been the good guy in WWE. But I I really liked his heel character when he was in Impact
Mm,
because the dude did not give a rat's ass about anybody. And shoot,
mm.
he even walked out of the entrance smoking weed. in one of the Impact
Yeah,
shows.
there's the whole thing with him and Sting.
That
Um,
I was really disappointed on that. I will admit
yeah,
that was
absolutely. Yeah,
really upsetting, and and I was mad. I would have been mad if I mean Sting was mad anyway
exactly.
in
He
that
was. He was like
situation.
literally on camera. Like somebody from the crowd shouted
But
something, and he responded right back. Like he was
yeah,
pissed.
yeah, and when that match happened, um, and seeing that, but I really like how Jeff Hardy was a heel at that time, and it was
Mm,
great. And but like currently with the wrestlers now, I mean like Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor could be thrown in there a bit. Like
yeah,
Finn Balor is incredible in the ring for sure. Um, it's like those guys are hard workers. They earned what they earned it. They earned their spot for sure
absolutely.
for what
Yeah,
they did. Um, but like and Bray Wyatt, I'll throw Bray Wyatt in there too because of what he's able to do in the ring and for his creativity. Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
for I mean, he's a creative genius for sure. Um, women's in general, China is definitely on the list. Mickey James, which I'm a big Mickey James fan. I always like
Hmm.
Mickey James a lot.
Yeah.
You could, you put them on there. And, you put Lita and Trish Stratus feud,
Yeah, that was
which
my
that
that
was
was my
one of
four.
the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, that was one of the best feud for sure. And
Exactly. Them main eventing Raw was huge because that's an like we wouldn't see it for quite a while, but it was an early catalyst for the women of WWE at the time.
yeah, but I mean, it was insane. But this is one of like my favorite wrestlers in Impact. But it's she's not wrestling anymore. Uh,
Hmm.
but she's one of the coolest, one of the funniest wrestlers. I love seeing in the ring every time she's in it. Do you remember ODB?
Who
ODB. Do you remember ODB?
doesn't ring a bell to me,
Hold on.
to be quite honest with you.
Hold on.
Oh
So
God.
this wrestler was she she is funny.
Hmm.
Okay, hold on. Uh I always like ODB.
Right.
If you can see a picture, uh if you can see this picture of her, if you can't, I don't think you can. But that's ODB. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, no, the brightness is just it's the brightness combined with being on
Yeah, hold
camera,
on.
but I'll take your word for it, man.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
All right.
But she's like
I'll
one of
check
the
Twitter later.
fun,
I'll check Twitter
she's
afterwards,
one of the
but
funniest wrestlers because when she's like your typical redneck alcoholic type wrestler,
mhm.
and her motivation is smacking her own melons.
Oh my God.
That's her motivation, and and she's like bang. It has the freaking she has the flask in her hand, just acting crazy,
Oh my
beating up
God.
people.
Oh my
And she was
God.
fun to watch in the ring. Like she's fun to watch in the ring, and I loved ODB. And her theme song is really catchy.
Mhm.
But always my favorite women's wrestler is Mickey James for sure. And I also love Alexa Bliss and like Sasha Banks and all them. But Mickey James is always awesome to watch in the ring.
Yeah.
But it's I just I grew up watching from the Ruthless Aggression era. But if I'm also going to put another great wrestler for the Mount Rushmore,
Mm.
is definitely Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Kurt
Yeah.
Angle, Olympic gold medalist, even won the even won the gold medal when he broke
With a
his neck,
broken freaking neck. You have to
which
say it that
it's
way. It's with a
incredible.
broken freaking neck.
Broken freaking neck, which it's
Yeah, exactly.
incredible
Yeah.
on him doing that.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but Undertaker is always going to be my number one wrestler. always.
Yeah.
And you definitely throw Stone Cold in there.
Mick
But
Foley's another
those
one.
guys,
Absolutely.
Mick Foley for sure.
Like the amount of shit he's done, the fact he's still alive.
Bret Hart is another one too.
Yep.
Definitely got to put Bret
Yeah,
Hart, Shawn
definitely.
Michaels. I mean, Shawn
Always
Michaels
forever
is
a hater
always
of
on there.
Goldberg. He is. He's like the
Yeah,
man
yeah.
wakes up every day, just like I'm
Hating
still hating
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
And speaking
Have
of
you
Goldberg,
seen?
to kind of put it between
Have you? Seen,
wrestling and Monster Jam, Medusa, you got to throw her on
yeah.
there. I mean, she didn't get a whole lot when she was in WWE or really in WCW either. Whether it's wrestling under the name of Medusa or wrestling under her real name of Alundra Blaze. Because of course women's wrestling wasn't taken as seriously here back then, but she was champion. She has the infamous moment of dropping the women's belt, the WWE women's title belt in the trash on WCW. And then of course, as we all know, later into the 90s, getting into Monster Jam with WCW being partnered with Monster Jam. So that's how you had Medusa, you had Goldberg, which Tom Ince, of course. You had WCW Nitro Machine, NWO, Sting. There was supposed to be a Bret Hart truck, which never came to be, but there are pictures out there, concept stuff. Look it up. It looks pretty freaking cool. They've actually made like diecast WWE ones. Like Hot Wheels has some.
Yeah.
For like under like their current like reign, whatever, when they took over, when Hot Wheels started doing their own thing, maybe or something like that, about the time when Spin Master took over the license to do Monster Jam diecast because Hot Wheels is expired and they didn't get renewed. But again, for Medusa to go from wrestling to get into Monster Jam and being successful at both. Again, she's part of the only three-way, like the only tie for the freestyle title, which with Max D and Lupe Souza and El Toro Loco. And then she also, and then like it was either the year before the year. It's like one of them she won before the other. I want to say the racing title she won. No, I think she won the freestyle. She co-won the freestyle title first, and then won the racing title, beating one of the guys that helped her getting into Monster Jam, Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger, to do it. She's the Queen of Carnage for a reason, And I feel and want to throw this out there. I don't know if you know this, but Chad Fortune, he actually wrestled in WCW and then was the hype guy for the NWO truck when they were trying to hide that it was Rob Nell who was driving it. They tried to do the whole hide the driver thing, but it didn't really work at the time. Although I think Monster Jam learned from that when they did the Doomsday truck. There's a video on YouTube by Monster Talk about the whole Doomsday thing. I implore you to go watch. It's incredible. It's incredible how well they did that whole, I guess you could say, gimmick. But yeah, Chad Fortune, it's crazy when you see wrestling and motorsports crossed over and stuff like that. I mean, hell, well, it was more Peacock than it was WWE, but Corey LaJoy driving the SummerSlam car this year with Roman and Brock on the hood. That was cool.
Actually a nice looking car.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But that's like with how I remember I actually have a couple of the Hot Wheels Monster Jam cars when I was younger. I still got them. I remember when they made a Yu-Gi-Oh Monster Jam car.
Yeah, that was
deal.
supposed to be a real truck, but it never came to be. But but the diecast is out there.
Yeah.
I don't have it, but I've found it. I've seen it on eBay. There's sometimes you can get it for decent price. It's hard collecting Monster Jam diecast online nowadays, especially through eBay, because it's like a lot of shit gets, like a lot of the older ones get valued like out the wazoo, give or take.
Yeah.
Like, so there are reasonable prices out there, but even still, I mean, but it's a collection that you you're always, it's like NASCAR diecast. You're always collecting, you know. There's a few trucks out there that I'm hoping to get at some point myself. A couple of new ones for the collection I don't already have. Just looking on eBay alone, Bad Company. There's a diecast out there for that. Rage. If you've ever watched Monster Jam OCD on YouTube, he's partnered with Spin Master, so he does these reveals of different NASCAR Authentics is waves the releases for Monster Jam trucks in the ones or series. But there's one that should be out, I want to say late sometime next month, if not into January, that's got a couple of trucks. One of them is finally Boogeyman, or sorry, not Boogeyman. No, that's not the rest. The Boogie Van finally getting a diecast of that, which is incredible. There's a retro looking Monster Mutt that's part of it. There's a couple of other ones as well.
Like I want to get the and I saw this at like a Walmart or Target or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I saw like the Gravedigger Through the Years collection.
Yeah, there's
Like,
three
I
different
wanted
collections
that one.
of that. There's Gravedigger, Max D, El Toro Loco. I have Max D and El Toro Loco. Those are Target exclusives. I never got to find the Gravedigger one, but I have Max D and El Toro Loco in my room.
Like I wouldn't mind getting the Gravedigger because I always like Gravedigger. But
Same.
when I got the Monster Jam video game, the Steel Titan one, which it's a fun game.
Yeah,
surprisingly a really fun game, especially on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And I wanted to. They had like a limited edition Gravedigger Gold diecast, like a 124, but they didn't have anymore. But I've been trying to find a Gravedigger 124 from Spin Masters because it looks great, it looks detailed, and if I ever go to if I go to Outer Banks to go to the graveyard and try to see if I can meet the drivers over there, that would be
awesome. Absolutely. I want to visit Digger Dungeon one day. I absolutely do.
Yeah,
that's a bucket list item for me.
Like if I went, I'm definitely vlogging. I'm definitely vlogging
definitely, that would be certainly be a fun experience. And it's crazy because like Dennis is obviously retired. You know, there's the backflip that he attempted, I believe, in Tampa at I think back in 2017, I believe.
It was like
he didn't rotate enough, landed on the cage, got hurt, and said, "You know what? I'm done. I'm retiring." And he's got his kids. His oldest, Adam, Ryan, Kristen. Motherfucker, now you got fucking Weston Anderson, who this year was basically his rookie year because he was old enough to race this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all these other guys and whatever. It's crazy. And people get mad because you have all these different Gravediggers in the World Finals and they're all the same paint scheme. They used to do different schemes and now they don't do that anymore, which I think is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, talking Monster Jam in of itself, excuse me, that's a whole other discussion, especially with what Feld has done with the sport. But it's just crazy because Dennis, for everything he's done, and Tom Mintz, obviously, that's when it comes to motorsports, Mintz versus Anderson is one, say what you will, it is easily one of the greatest rivalries in motorsports history.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because they push themselves. And it's especially when it came to the World Finals, obviously Mintz has the record. He's got so many World Finals titles, and he's going into next year celebrating 30 years of driving in Monster Jam, 20 years with Max D. And then so there's that, and it's crazy, man. It absolutely is. And if when Tom Mintz is done driving, and I hope he's not done anytime soon. I hope Feld doesn't push him out or whatever, because if they do, that's stupid. But Mintz is obviously a Hall of Famer, and I hope he somehow gets into the management side of Monster Jam like, and actually to try to help
Mm-hmm.
the sport, because Feld, in a nutshell, they've done a lot that has hurt Monster Jam. Like Monster Jam is still, it's not as popular as it used to be, and I think the Mintz Anderson rivalry going away with Anderson being retired, and whatever, I think that's led to part of it, but a lot of it is also just some of the things
Mm-hmm.
that Feld has done. And I understand that as the parent company of Monster Jam, and I understand that Feld, with some of the other stuff that they have under their banner, Disney on Ice, for example, they appeal to the families and stuff, but it has hurt Monster Jam over the years. You have some of the censorship nonsense, like they forced Gunslinger to be changed to Slinger, which is stupid. They had the guns
Yeah.
taken off the top of the
Yeah.
Soldier Fortune trucks, and some other stuff. Less crush cars, which I can understand to a point, because it's harder to find these big cars from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s to still be able to crush,
Mm-hmm.
not to mention safety, which, also trucks braking. They don't get to just keep going as much as they used to. Fan
Mm-hmm.
judging, not a fan of it. Never have been. I'm planning on doing at some point in time, because I have the YouTube membership to Monster Jam's YouTube channel. So, which, if you get that, they have all these different uploads from like as far back as like 2000 up to like 2018 or so, of all these different broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, what I want to do is rescore every World Finals freestyle. And just because there are some that were controversial in the end, and there's some, like, you can nitpick some. There are some definitively controversial ones, and of course, also I just want to see how I'd rescore like the ones that ended up being ties. There's the 3-way tie between Max D, El Toro
Mm-hmm.
Loco, and Medusa. The very next year, Bounty Hunter, when they first implemented the tiebreaker rules, Bounty Hunter and Blue Thunder tied. That was the closest Tony Farrell, rest in peace, ever came to winning a World Finals title, and he
Mm-hmm.
lost in the tiebreaker. And then the only other tiebreaker that ever happened was early 2010s. Cam McQueen, Northern Nightmare, and Jim Kohler, Avenger. Avenger won the tiebreaker, which got him his second title. And then Northern Nightmare and Cam McQueen said, "All right, I'm just going to go out and win it the very next year." So, so that's something I'm looking forward to doing. But just in general, it's, yeah. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I always like Monster Jam for sure, and I haven't really watched much Monster Jam this year, honestly,
Well,
because I always been,
the problem with that is just the broadcasting. It's
yeah.
obviously, it used to be on Speed. Speed became Fox Sports 1. It ended up getting moved from Fox Sports 1 to NBCSN, and at that point, it's just like, what the hell are you doing? Because it would just be on so late at night. Like they would show it before motocross
Mm-hmm.
on FS1. Then they'd show it,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the NBCSN got it, they'd show it afterwards. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just, now obviously NBCSN's gone. So I don't even know where we'll see. There's a whole drivers thing that's coming up, I believe, next month. I want to say that's
Mm-hmm.
it's going to lead to more announcements going into next season, or next year rather. So I'm looking forward to that, and seeing what happens from there. Probably more driver announcements, series, tour announcements. The big rumor out there is the Marvel trucks are potentially coming back. So
I would
that's
love to.
something
I
that,
would love to go to one. I would love to go to a
yeah,
Monster Jam show.
yeah. The only actual Monster Jam show I've been to was, my mom got tickets for me for Christmas one year to go up to Manchester, to the arena up there. So I ended up going with my dad and my uncle. Well, he's not really my uncle. He's a friend of my dad. So growing up, we called him Uncle whatever, Uncle Wade.
Mm-hmm.
We went up in Wade's truck. It had a fun time. I had fun watching. The funny thing was, when we got back to Keene, it started snowing, or it was snowing at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a rotary like coming. There's a rotary that goes into Keene from one direction, coming from Winchester, New Hampshire. Another direction from coming up coming out of Chesterfield and whatnot. And when we got to that rotary, we actually drove on the curb a little bit going around it, which was funny as hell.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of other monster truck related things. Like they've had them at the Cheshire Fair some years. They have, I don't think they've brought the trucks back to that in a few years. And then there's an event that they do up in Burlington, Vermont at the Expo Center up the Champlain Valley Expo Center up there that I forget, 4x4 Jamboree or something like that. I cannot remember, but my dad has pictures. I got pictures with each driver that was there. Gravedigger was there. I think Bigfoot was there or something like that. There was some other trucks that were there. Randy, if I remember correctly, Randy Brown was driving Gravedigger at that event. I remember it because like my dad has told me years later, like I kept having to go to the bathroom. So during it, this is when I was like younger. So, but so yeah, there was that because it was him, myself, and my older sister Brianna, that were there. My dad has pictures of me like standing by the trucks and getting pics with some of the drivers. Because I remember getting a picture with Randy Brown. He has them at his house. I gotta find them and then like post or whatever. But the neat thing with stuff like that is, fans will post that footage to YouTube. And especially when it comes to Monster Jam, there's all these different broadcasts, all these different events that never got shown here in the States. They might have got shown overseas in like Europe or what have you, or potentially not even shown at all. And then you've got YouTubers that like Eric Fording as a YouTuber who he scrounges up all this footage, fan footage from all these different events, and puts them all together to the best of his ability. And some runs he can't find, some runs he can only get.
Can you give me 1 sec? I gotta use the bathroom.
That's fine, man. That's fine. Go right on ahead. I'm having fun. I'm absolutely having fun. And we back.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. So yeah, like I was saying, there's Eric Fording, again, puts these things together, and it's fun to watch. Like, not all the fan footage is all that good, especially depending on the event, but like, there's a lot of stuff out there that, gets lost to time, lost media, basically, especially special events. Like, the biggest one is the 2003 season, which you're not going to find much of because of the TV contract just not getting. There was issues there. They managed to get it done in time for the World Finals, but ended up neglecting other stuff. So like I believe it's the last event at the Astrodome that happened that year. You're hardly gonna find any video footage unless you go through like the old Crash Madness DVDs, which I believe people have uploaded to YouTube. Like really, aside from stuff like that, and I bet Monster Jam probably has the footage. It's just, why would they invest time into putting all that together when they're making new content? I, for one, would like to see them put together old stuff and put it out to the masses. If you want to put it in through YouTube membership, whatever, the fans want it. Like every week, like they put in the community tab to vote for like an event or year or whatever, and fans will be in the comments saying, we want to see 2003. We want to see 2003. Just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, since we've been recording this for about over 2 hours and 15 minutes, which
exactly,
is pretty wild.
Yeah, and I do apologize for going on tangents every now and again. It's just my nature, but I'm good. I'm glad because I've had a hell of a lot of fun. This is awesome, and I also appreciate you bringing me on to StreamYard, because seeing how this works, I'll probably end up starting to do streams through StreamYard. So because YouTube's weird. Like if I could something could happen with my mic being plugged into my laptop, and all of a sudden it's just like you can't hear me anymore, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. So hopefully with StreamYard, I don't have that sort of issue, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be live reacting to Survivor Series next weekend or not. Hopefully, we'll see. If not, whenever the next time my stream comes along, I'll be using this. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun doing this. So Alan, how can people find you?
So basically, if you're gonna come find me, I don't know how much longer Twitter's gonna last. Fuck Elon Musk. Fuck Elon Musk. As long as Twitter's still there, you can find me there. At Nadeau 2016. Come find me. I talk a lot of sports, stuff like that. I try to be as chill as possible. Don't start shit with me. We'll be all right. YouTube, just search my name. You'll find me. I've got as high as about 691 subs recently. I've lost a couple, so still closing in on 700. So I'd appreciate the subscription, of course. Like, follow, that other fun stuff. Really, aside from that, I mean, I'm on Discord, but I don't really. But there's certain servers I'm in, but I kind of keep that to myself. You might find me on Reddit here and there, but it's mostly Twitter and YouTube is where you're gonna find me. And then when Twitter shits the bed, thinking about moving over to Instagram. We'll see. But yeah, so there's that. And, I don't know if Circuit B Diecast is doing the whole Black Friday thing again like they did last year. But if they do, as always, I have a code. I don't know if you do, but the various of us, with YouTube and whatnot, or not even just YouTube, just NASCAR social media in general, have them. The program has changed over time with it, and it's just because Brent from Circle B having to keep up with the changes, with COVID and pandemic and shipping and all that fun stuff. But as of right now, ANJJ, $5 off on orders of $30 or more at Circuit B Diecast. Again, at Nadeau 2016 on Twitter. Just search my name on YouTube and you'll find me. Once again, thank you, Smoke. Thank you, Carbon, for bringing me on. I appreciate it. It's not often I get to do this sort of thing. And yeah, so I've got diecast reviews I got to get done the next couple of days. I actually have another diecast that's coming in soon. It's the Jeffrey Earnhardt lawn care one. I believe it's the one from Talladega. So that's going to be neat to review. And yeah, so that's me. So again, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Alan, for joining. If you enjoy this broadcast, hit that like button. Also subscribe for more if you want more of these types of videos. And you can also follow me on Twitter, and also you can follow me on Instagram. But thank you all so much. I love every single one of y'all. And just remember, stay gold.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Later.